pressure, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, March 6th, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News as we're on day 7 of Iran war. We got some 6s today, 3s. It's insanity. It's been a long week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this Friday. Monday seemed like a long week already. We're now on Friday, and we've just seen this last week out of the Trump administration otherworldly levels of Orwellian propaganda trying to sell this war to the American people. I hope most aren't buying it. We shall see as it rages on. Yesterday, the North American Union, the American Technate, or the term that the Department of War is using, the Greater North America, was publicly acknowledged by Pete Hegseth. We played that full clip. Kind of a big deal. Flew under the radar for most people. Where we at here today? A lot of propaganda. White House is posting ridiculous Hollywood memes, football memes about the war. None of this is entertaining. People are dying. As the headline says, it's over 1,333 dead Iranians so far. There's a bunch of dead Lebanese. They're still stacking Palestinian bodies. There's reports of injuries from the Aardvark army. We've got 6 dead Americans so far officially. It's horrific. It's horrific. We'll get to all these reports. The clown world level of propaganda coming out of the White House. These are juvenile children. I guess they're selling their propaganda to an audience of juvenile children here in America. I don't know. They're putting in video game clips alongside alleged drone targeting. They're acting like it's Grand Theft World. It's the real world, and real people are dying. It's just beyond, what do we even say of this? It's just beyond the pale of disgusting, the propaganda coming out of the White House. We have the Speaker of the House. We played that clip. We'll play it again. Christian Zionist Mike Johnson saying we are not at war. Yesterday. We're neck deep in Operation Epstein Fury here now. Trump has reassured us that Lockheed Martin is going to quadruple munitions productions. So the military industrial complex is going to profiteer handsomely. And so we should all be very happy that their shareholders will be making record profits. Cover that. Neocon Condoleezza Rice at the White House today. Oh, and they quietly also launched this President Trump's cybersecurity for America. We'll take a look at that. More censorship, more lies, more propaganda coming out of the criminal government. We have economic news. We have public health news. We have, what else do we got? We got Epstein news today. We got more Epstein news. We're going to keep that flowing. We have more Department of Homeland Security news. We have geopolitical news, and of course, a whole lot of West Asia on fire news. As they're bombing the hell out of them right now, that is, the United States is bombing the hell out of Iran right now. And reports say tonight is going to be the heaviest bombing yet in Operation Epstein Fury. We'll get to all that and much more on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. All the bloody details for you here now today. Let's go to this day in history. Interestingly enough, on this day of March 6th, if we go back to the year 1079, Persian polymath Omar Khayyam completes the Jal-Ali calendar, a solar calendar with a precise 33-year intercalculation cycle, and the basis for the Persian calendar still in use today. In 1775, on this day, we saw the first African-American Freemason in North America initiated in Boston. In 1816, on this day, aardvarks are expelled from the free imperial city of Lubeck. In 1831, on this day, Edgar Allan Poe is court-martialed and dismissed from West Point Military Academy for gross neglect of duty and disobedience of orders. In 1836, on this day, we saw the Battle of the Alamo. After 13 days of fighting, 1,500 to 3,000 Mexican soldiers overwhelm the Texan defendants, killing 182 to 257 Texans, including William Travis, John Bowie, and Davy Crockett. On this day in 1857, we saw the Dred Scott decision. U.S. Supreme Court rules African Americans cannot be U.S. citizens. We'll take a look at that in our civil liberties history. In 1896, on this day, we saw the first auto in Detroit. Charles B. King rides his horseless carriage. In 1933, on this day, FDR declares a nationwide bank holiday to shut down the banking system, pass the Emergency Banking Act, and restore public confidence. In 1944, on this day, we saw the United States Air Force begin daylight bombing of Berlin, Germany. In 1964, on this day, we saw boxing legend Cassius Clay join the Nation of Islam and change his name to Muhammad Ali, calling his former title his slave name. And then 3 years later, Muhammad Ali is ordered by Selective Service to be inducted into the military. In 1991, on this day, following Iraq's capitulation in the Persian Gulf conflict, then U.S. President George H.W. Bush told Congress that, quote, aggression is defeated, the war is over. In 2017, on this day, we saw WikiLeaks publish Vault 7 CIA documents detailing its hacking and surveillance techniques. In Vault 7, for those that can remember, in the published CIA documents, it details how the CIA can spoof up a cyber attack and blame any other country, and not take the blame themselves for doing said cyber attack, amongst other details there in Vault 7, leaked on this day, 2017, by WikiLeaks. In 2018, on this day, we saw the highest overdose rate ever recorded in the United States, 142,000 overdoses in 2016 and 17 period, according to the CDC. And still no one ever gets in trouble here. It's all well and good. Maduro's a fentanyl trafficker, even though he's not in the indictment from the Justice Department. But the Secular family, Purdue Pharma, Johnson and Johnson, who actually started this whole opioid epidemic in America with oxycodone, they've all just got to pay some fines and they get to keep doing business, you see. That's where we're at here in America. And finally, on this day, makes you wonder if where is the Dalai Lama's faith? On this day in 2021, Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama got all miracled up for the bat juice. Thought you had faith in a higher power, bro. Apparently not. His faith is in the bat people. And with that, let's take a look on this day in our civil liberties history. Let's take a look at the 1857 Dred Scott decision. In what is widely revealed or reviled as the most outrageous decision in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court, Dred Scott versus Stanford, the court declared that all African Americans were not and could never become citizens of the United States, and that Scott could not therefore bring suit in federal court. The court also declared the 1820 Missouri Compromise unconstitutional because it deprived slave owners of their property, thus permitting slavery in all of the country's territories. Dred Scott, a slave who had lived in the free state of Illinois and the free territory of Wisconsin before moving back to the slave state of Missouri, had appealed to the Supreme Court in hopes of being granted his freedom. After the Civil War, the Dred Scott decision was nullified by the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which officially prohibited slavery nationwide and granted citizenship to former slaves. Problem is, they just changed the definition of slavery to trafficking, and it kept on going, and we're living under it today. On this day in our civil liberties history, in 1918, on this day, military burglarizes Civil Liberties Bureau office. Officers of the United States Military Intelligence Section of the Army on this day burglarized the office of the National Civil Liberties Bureau in New York City and stole some of its important documents. By early 1918, the federal government had concluded that the NCLB was a threat to the war effort and possibly in violation of the Espionage Act because of its assistance to young men seeking conscientious objector status. And its defense of free speech rights of war critics. The Justice Department then raided the NCLB offices on August 30th, 1918, and seized all of its files. For several weeks, it appeared likely that the top officials of the organization, including Roger Baldwin, would be arrested and prosecuted under the Espionage Act. That did not happen, although the reasons why are not clear. And so we do appreciate the U.S. Army burglarizing the Civil Liberties Bureau office on this day in 1918. Okay, here's our segue. Here's our segue to the news. Let's play this one because I particularly like this one, and we played it yesterday. So I think we're just going to play it again. Again, this is a Green politician out of Australia, David Shoebridge.
Nobody believes that Donald Trump is engaged in this war on the side of the Iranian people for democracy and human rights. Donald Trump isn't on the side of democracy and human rights in the United States, let alone in Iran.
Indeed. Indeed. Here's the announcement of the Greater North America yesterday by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Kind of a big deal. This is your North American Union, your American Technate, our region of one world government. Kind of a big deal. Not many people noticing this. You should notice and pay attention. We're in a new world order as we continue to report to you here at Weaponized News.
That is why President Trump has drawn a new strategic map from Greenland to the Gulf of America to the Panama Canal and its surrounding countries. At the Department of War, we call this strategic map the Greater North America.
The Greater North America. They're doing it right now. They got a big conference tomorrow. I'm going to have to take a look at, and we'll definitely cover next week the sordid details coming out of that. Here's propaganda right out of the White House trying to sell us this war. They're trying to say, "Oh, you didn't know? We've been at war with Iran for 47 years. We've never been at war in East Asia. We've always been at war with East Asia." This is the Orwellian propaganda coming out of Congress and the White House this week. I know it's hard to believe. We live in a satanic inverted reality here now. Here's propaganda right from the White House posted earlier today.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tonight, President Biden, as you just heard, says the United States, quote, shall respond following a deadly drone attack on American troops. He blames an Iran-backed militia for the overnight strike. At least 3 American service members were killed. More than 30 others were wounded, some of them seriously.
Today, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in Jordan when a drone packed with explosives struck a shelter where troops were sleeping. President Biden blaming radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in the region. More than 30 U.S. troops were also wounded, according to 2 U.S. officials, including several who were medevaced out because of the severity of their injuries. Now, more than 160 attacks against bases with Americans in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. And just 1 week ago, multiple U.S. troops were injured when a barrage of ballistic missiles hit Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq.
President Biden blamed it on Iranian-backed militias and vowed to retaliate.
And new details about what the Justice Department is calling an Iranian murder-for-hire plot to kill President-elect Trump. The alleged plot follows 2 attempts on Trump's life in the months leading up to the election. Officials in recent months have pointed to ongoing efforts by Iran to target Trump and other current and former U.S. officials.
We are following some breaking news out of Iran after Iran threatens President Trump, saying Iran issues a sickening assassination threat against Trump. Quote, this time it will not miss the target.
Seriously, Iran should have never built its country around all of our military bases, right? America's unstoppable momentum in Operation Epstein Fury. This is from the White House yesterday. Of course, Epic Fury. I'm changing it here. Yeah, so a bunch of propaganda. Again, who even knows if this is real? These images they're putting out could be AI for all we know. We don't know. Trust the government that is Orwellingly lying to us at this point. Yeah, kind of hard to trust these jokers at this point. Southcom said earlier today, statement from Admiral Brad Cooper, CENTCOM commander, said the Iranian terrorist regime has attacked 12 different countries and continues to deliberately target civilians throughout the Middle East. Is he talking about Aardvark land? No, oh, he's talking about Iranian terrorists. Oh, I get confused sometimes there. Last night, Iranian forces fired 7 attack drones at civilian residential neighborhoods in Bahrain. This is unacceptable and will not go unanswered. We will continue working with regional partners to address this threat to innocent people across the region. We'll get to more of that. Now they're putting, oh, Iran's just gone crazy, attack everybody around there. They're attacking U.S. military in those countries. Anyhow, bless our dead troops. Bless our dead troops. They're saying 6 now officially. I believe it's more than that. We'll wait for the official announcement. If they even tell us, who knows? They'll probably just start lying again. Censor the dead troops coming home in the coffins with the flags draped over them, right? Just censor it. I wouldn't be surprised. It's happened before. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again here. But according to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, we've lost 6 American service members so far. Here's their names. Bless their souls in this evil war. It's horrible. Yeah, I'm not even going to play these clips, but they're doing meme clips mixed in with alleged blowing stuff up in Iran, from video games to football to Hollywood movies, and we're supposed to be entertained. And this is some kind of game. It's very serious. As you could see here, U.S. troops are dying. They say, the White House says, annihilate Iran's Navy. Trump misspoke today, said they have less than Southcom says, or Northcom, it's CENTCOM. Yeah, who knows? Who knows how many? But their Navy was very small, like 30, 40 ships. I think we reported yesterday, maybe if they're lucky, they got 100 here or there. So very small Navy. But again, they're bragging they blew up their Navy. And then here's a long thread. I'm not going to go through it, but I will show it to you. The propaganda coming out of the White House. For nearly half a century, the Iranian regime has been slaughtering Americans. Who knew? They're inferring, and they basically are saying out of both sides of their mouth, we've been at war with Iran for the last 47 years. I know. Who knew? Who knew? Going back to 1979, they're trying to say we've been at war with Iran ever since then. And they go through all these different incidences of terrorist attacks. And there's a bunch. But again, if Iran didn't put their country in the middle of all our military bases and Navy, we would never have had this problem in the first place. You see, here's Trump yelling in a post. Unconditional surrender. There will be no deal with Iran except, and then he yells, unconditional surrender, right? After that, and the selection of a great and acceptable leaders, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than before. Iran will have a great future. Make Aardvark land great. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Make Iran great again. Mega. Here's U.S. Central Command the first 7 days. And they're actively, I didn't see them today fact checking the media, but here's a slideshow they put out earlier today. Operation Epstein Fury first 7 days. And they give us the rundown here. They say they've struck over 3,000 Iranian targets. Iranian ships damaged or destroyed 43. U.S. assets employed. You can see all the big guns, a lot of big guns over there. A lot of big guns. We're bombing them right now. Right now as I speak, giant bombing campaigns are going on. Pray for our soldiers. Pray for the civilians. Pray for everybody. We need to end this war. We need to end this war. People are dying all over the place now. And so you could see types of targets. They keep telling us the mission, allegedly the objectives, but as we'll see, the goalposts keep getting shifted by Trump. Here's from yesterday. Again, Christian Zionist piece of trash. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Massey reposted this. Says, we are not at war. Orwellian levels of doublespeak. Indeed. Indeed. Let's play it one more time today.
Well, we just had an important series of votes on the House floor. As you know, the War Powers Resolution failed. That is the right result. We are not at war. We have no intention of being at war. The President and the Department of Defense have made this very clear.
We're not at war. They're playing semantical games, stacking bodies. And so that's where we're at with Congress. I saw this post. Who's this? The Republican Aardvark Coalition. And so this is very nice of them. Shabbat Shalom. They put this out to remind everybody. And so that's very good of them. Ro Khanna said, no dumb wars, no elite impunity. These principles led to Massey and my work on the two most consequential matters of this Congress, the Epstein Transparency Act and the Iran War Powers Resolution. We stand with the people against a corrupted government that has sold us out. Indeed. Indeed. Do I trust Ro Khanna? No. Do I trust Thomas Massey? No. But they're playing the foil right now, at least bringing this stuff up, putting it on the record in the Congress. It must be done. It must be done. Hey, you got Lockheed Martin stock? Here's Trump praising the military-industrial complex coming windfall of your mine tax money to kill Iranians. Isn't it wonderful? According to Trump, it is. Take a look. Lockheed Martin says, we have agreed to quadruple critical munitions production as a result of President Trump's leadership. We began this work months ago with Secretary of War Hegseth and Deputy Secretary Feinberg. So you're saying that this was the plan the whole time and all of the diplomacy was just bullshit? Because it certainly appears to be the case, destroying any type of foreign policy diplomatic negotiations going further into the future. How can any country trust the United States when they're backhandedly admitting, oh, all those negotiations we were doing with Iran, that was just bullshit because we had planned to go ahead and kill them for months, according to Lockheed Martin. Trump says, we just concluded a very good meeting with the largest U.S. defense manufacturing companies where we discussed, why don't you call them war manufacturing companies, you assholes? Because that's what they are. You change your name of a Department of Defense to Department of War, so just call them U.S. war manufacturing companies. They can't even get their Orwellian doublespeak correct in the propaganda messaging to try to sell us another illegal, unconstitutional foreign war of aggression. Continuing here with Trump's praise of Lockheed Martin, he said they have agreed to quadruple production of the exquisite class weaponry in that we want to reach as rapidly as possible the highest levels of quantity. Expansion began 3 months prior to the meeting, and the plants and production of many of these weapons are already underway. We had a virtually unlimited supply of medium and upper medium grade munitions, which we are using as an example in Iran and recently used in Venezuela. Regardless, however, we have also increased orders at these levels. The companies represented were the CEOs of BAE Systems, Boeing, Honeywell Aerospace, L3 Harris, Missile Solutions, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon. So isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? The munition makers are standing to profit handsomely, and they're backhandedly admitted all of our negotiations with Iran were total bullshit because we've been ramping up munitions production for the last 3 months. Isn't that good to know? Here's Trump thanking Condoleezza Rice. So there you go. MAGA are neocon scum. Trump is neocon scum. He's a New York liberal, piece of shit. Epsteiner.
And a great champion of college athletics, former, as I just said, Secretary of State, a woman who's really respected, Condoleezza Rice. Thank you very much again, Condoleezza.
Who respects her? The American people hate that woman. Warmongers, war profiteers, war criminals love her. The rest of the people hate her freaking guts. Trump administration, some are calling it the Patriot Act 2.0. We will unveil and embarrass online espionage, destructive propaganda, and influence operations and cultural subversion. When the government starts defining threats by propaganda, influence, and cultural subversion, it is not just targeting hackers, it is targeting narratives. Indeed. So they're going to come. I thought you ended the weaponization of government against the American people. No, turns out you turn it into some radical right-wing censorship of the American people. We just got through with radical left-wing censorship. Now we got radical right-wing censorship. Thank you very much. Criminal government. Again, it's the government. It don't matter left, right, or center. It's the government. Here is the President Trump's cyber strategy for America. They put this out a few hours ago. Here it is in said document. It's a short one, 7-pager. It says President Trump has made targeting Americans a hazardous business. Our adversaries have and will increasingly feel the consequences of their actions. We will dismantle networks, pursue hackers and spies, and sanction lawless foreign hacking companies. We will unveil and embarrass online espionage, destructive propaganda, and influence operations and cultural subversion. The 6 policy pillars underpin this strategy and will guide implementation and measures for success. Shape adversary behavior, promote common sense regulation, modernize and secure federal government networks. It's being reported today also that the FBI was hacked by China, they're trying to say. Secure critical infrastructure, sustain superiority in critical and emerging technologies, build talent and capacity. Yeah, so there it is. Maybe we'll circle back and take a look at more details next week, but they put this out today right there. You can see. And so as we're in this Iran war, we need to pay attention to what else the government's doing, like announcing the announcement yesterday of the Greater North America, kind of a big deal. They're rolling out, some are dubbing Patriot Act 2.0 here with this cyber strategy for America. So they're going to get through a whole lot of tyranny while we're looking the other way. Look over there. There's aliens. Huh? There's terrorists over there. But you guys armed the terrorists. There's aliens. You see? And now in the background, they're building FEMA camps. They're rolling out cybersecurity. They're rolling out hardcore tyranny on us here at home. You better believe it. Because these are maniacs in charge, as we continue to report here. Religious fanatical maniacs, some of them actually true believers. We're in bad shape. We're in bad shape. More from the White House. Freedom Moves You. They launched that campaign today out of the Transportation Department. Is our public infrastructure at risk? Will they stage false flag terrorist attacks? Will organic terrorist attacks happen as we're under a global jihad? Iran declared fatwa, right? Because we killed their supreme leader. The FBI fired the task force in charge of tracking Iranian terrorists in this country like 2 weeks ago. So there's a big false flag coming here, either staged or real. Doesn't matter. Americans will die. That's going on in the background as well. Sleeper terror cells. And our government loves to just false flag us. The FBI, it's kind of their thing to run false flag terrorist attacks on U.S. soil. They can set up some mentally ill patsy, some radicalized Muslim being directed by the FBI, or it could be actual Iranian terrorists as well, working with U.S. intelligence, working on their own. Who knows? There's all kind of different combinations how this could play out, but that is definitely a growing threat here now in America with global jihad declared on us. Thanks a lot, President Trump. You put a target on every American's back by killing Iran's supreme leader. On to economic news. BlackRock is restricting withdrawals from its flagship private credit fund after a surge in inflows, according to a report out of Reuters. U.S. housing affordability has hit a record low as home prices surge 217% since 2000, according to a report from Coin Bureau. The Bureau of Government Office, what the heck are they called? The CBO? I forget even their name now. Anyway, the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, I believe, now estimates that the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the Trump administration's signature law passed last year, will widen cumulative deficits by $4.7 trillion over the next decade. It's the golden age for the military-industrial complex, not for anybody else. And the Rockefeller oil oligarchs as well, but not for you and me. Healthcare and social assistance accounted for 95% of the 130,000 jobs added in January, according to the Washington Compost. U.S. payrolls unexpectedly fell by 92,000 in February, unemployment rate rises to 4.4%. And that's rigged numbers, as we continue to explain here. In the golden age of our economy, because the Trump administration is lying about the economy. We have implemented short-term measures to keep oil prices down. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said, he said, we are allowing our friends in India to take oil that is already on ships, refine it, and move those barrels into the market quickly, a practical way to get supply flowing and ease pressure. That's funny. Simon commented on there. He says, on this post from the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, I'm just seeing that right now. Simon said that India and China will not export anything. China has a formal export ban. You are delusional. You're not delusional, Simon. You know that. He's pumping propaganda. He may very well be delusional. It seems there's many people. I want to think better of people, but there's many people in this Trump administration. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, extremely concerning, extremely delusional. So maybe he is delusional. I don't know. Maybe they are smoking their own propaganda at this point. Maybe they are this delusional. I don't know. But they tell us a whole lot of lies. That's for damn sure. Okay, the Dow Jones. I don't believe it's been over 50,000 since Bondi had that outbreak at the hearing like 2 weeks ago. The Dow Jones, arrest the Epsteiners, man. It's at 50, close today at 47,501. So well under the 50K that was the threshold for arresting the Epstein trafficking network, those involved in it. Right, there's your Dow Jones. So a clear sign that the DOJ should go do its job and arrest those, but they won't. Now, will they? They continue to try to cover up the whole situation with Epstein. We've got more reporting on that coming up. Over how much? Can I even count this many zeros? Like $805 billion was wiped out of the stock market today. I guess some of these closed a little bit up, but yeah, not good. Not looking good there with all that red. Not looking good. Oil prices surged 34.5% this week, the largest weekly price jump in history. And they'll just lie. They'll say, well, it's wonderful. And you're like, but I can't afford to put gas in my car to get to work to pay my taxes so you guys can drink more children's blood. And they're like, well, Iran's tried to assassinate Trump 2 times. Didn't you hear the news? What? That's total propaganda and lies. Are you anti-American, Hamas, Hezbollah? Apparently. I mean, that's literally where we're at here. And you're like, no, I'm just trying to pay to put gas in my car to go to work to pay for you guys to cover up your sex crimes. And they're like, you sound like Hezbollah to me. That's where we're at with the level of propaganda, idiocy, and clown world. Trump on rising gas prices during the Iran operation. He says, if they rise, they rise. He don't give a damn about the struggles of the American people. He doesn't give a damn. He's a sick Epstein freak. He's a war criminal now on top of being a child molester. And so here's the AAA. Here's the AAA gas prices. They're killing us in California. We're almost at $5 on average, right? I know, move out of California. I heard it all before. Yeah, so you can see right here, AAA, and expect the prices to continue to increase as the Department of Energy lies to our face. Trump administration announces $20 billion reinsurance program for oil tankers during the Iran war. We covered that yesterday. So another thing to thank Trump for, he put the American taxpayers, you and I, on the hook to ensure global maritime shipping. Yeah, that was good of them. That was good of them. That's our economic news. Where are we at here? We got little public health news. Again, DeFoyle Massey. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Trump posted this yesterday. The Save America Act. All voters must show voter ID, identification. All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. No men in women's sports. No transgender mutilation surgery for children. All well and good, but then his post transition to no transgender mutilation surgery for children without the express written approval of the parents. So there you go. Trump is pro minor sex changes. You see, that's MAGA for you because he's a lying criminal scumbag. He's a con man. Big win for public health. This is where we're at in public health as they dose everything with glyphosate. You still got a bunch of miracles running around out there uncontrolled. They're defending fluoride in the water. It goes on. Maha. Hey, but we did get a big win. General Mills removes synthetic colors from school food portfolio. Like, why are schools even buying food from General Mills? Oh, because they've consolidated the food supply into what, like 6 major suppliers that spin off into 100 different brands. When it comes back, it's all the glyphosate factory. Literally spraying glyphosate on your on your cereal. Yeah. The Biden administration's 2024 designated placement rule conditioned funding on foster parents affirming radical gender ideology. It sent the wrong message to families willing to offer loving homes to foster youth. Trump administration squashes controversial Biden rule forcing foster homes to affirm children's LGBTQ plus status. We're still doing this, but Trump loves it too, as we just illustrated there for you, because he's a lying criminal that doesn't believe in anything but lying to you. A little bit more on this character, the new tyrant at the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen. We illustrated yesterday how he praised the Capitol Police officer for the killing of Ashley Babbitt during J6. Well, it turns out he's literally, AIPAC is literally Mullen's top donor. And so we wouldn't have it any other way if he was aardvark first. And so we do want our head of Department of Homeland Security to be aardvark land first. F you, America. And there you have it. There you have it. AIPAC, top contributor to Mark Wayne Mullen, your new head. Oh, I guess he has to get confirmed, right? Has to get confirmed by the sex offenders in the Congress. I'm sure he'll be confirmed. Here you go. Here's a little meme from Track AIPAC. And there you go. Keeping America safe with all that AIPAC money. Indeed. Indeed. yeah, they didn't. We're not getting mass deportations. Patrick Hawley posted this. He said, just to be clear, the administration's claim that around 2 million illegals self-deported is complete and utter nonsense based on a Center for Immigration Studies analysis of Bureau of Labor Statistics monthly current population survey, which illegals do not participate in because they don't participate. They don't admit to the government that they are illegal aliens. Even the Center for Immigration Studies had to admit it was totally flawed analysis. And they go through it here. I'm not going to read all this to you, but they go through it here. How yeah, it's not 2 million illegals that have self-deported. Now, is it? And Trump has said again, in agriculture, in hospitality, amongst other industries, they're going to look the other way. We're not getting mass deportations, but yet they're building FEMA camps. And then, of course, war profiteer. Here it is again. We keep reporting on it. It needs to be reiterated. Here's your Department of Homeland Security head. Again, not confirmed yet. I believe he will be confirmed. Mark Wayne Mullen. He bought up to $50,000 of Raytheon. We just saw the praise of Raytheon, right? On December 28, 2025. This was before Venezuela and Iran operations. Raytheon is up more than 15% since. He sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee. And so this piece of shit is a war profiteer. He's going to be a internment camp profiteer here in America as the head of Department of Homeland Security. And so he will profiteer handsomely off of innocent death and tyranny here in America. The new head of the Department of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, senator out of Oklahoma. I thought this was funny. I think this is I do believe this is Patrick Hawley there. Yeah, calling out Lindsey Graham. Pretty good one.
Hey, Lindsey, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore?
That's legitimate. He should just admit that he's gay, right? I mean, this is America, 2026. Here's lying criminal head of the FBI, Kash Patel.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
No credible information that Epstein trafficked to anyone. Epstein file search on X says our archive has 2.5 million documents, 38 witness statements, and a federal conviction that say otherwise. So how's Kash Patel still lying to us? Well, that's why he's there, to cover up. To cover up Epstein files. Massey put this one out. This was a good meme from him. He says, your government has raided more raw milk farms than Epstein clients. Indeed, there, Massey. Indeed. And yeah, Congress are a bunch of sex offenders. Remember this yesterday? And by the way, the clip of Massey from yesterday's show is going viral on the Facebook. So people on the Facebook, I posted this clip. I'll show it to you guys here. Surprisingly enough, who knew? Who knew this would break through? But this has broken through and gone viral on Facebook. I cut this clip from yesterday's show. You could see 29,000 views. What the hell? Let's just play it. What's got people on Facebook so
Congress
excited?
has paid over $17 million in hush money for sexual misconduct inside of the offices in these buildings. And what's more is that was taxpayer money, right? The allegation is that President Trump paid $130,000 of his own money. But here in Congress, there may be some on this dais. I mean, I'm for turning loose all of these records. Who in here has had the taxpayer pay for their sexual misconduct charges the hush money? I bet there's some over there. There may be some over here. I don't know, but I do know it's taxpayer money, and I do know not a single.
So surprisingly enough, that's gone viral on Facebook. What does it have? It has like, how many views? 29,000 views right now. So who knew? Who knew? And again, this all came out during Me Too, but it's come back up again. It's come back up again here now. So people are becoming aware of it again. It's ongoing. The crimes of Congress. Let's see here. Where we at with it? Well, let me back up a second. Okay, continuing here. Okay, so Nancy Mace was pushing it to the vote yesterday, right? And here she posted again today. She says 357 members of Congress, both Republican and Democrat, voted against our resolution to make public the sexual harassment and misconduct records of Congress. 357 members voted to protect predators. 357 members voted to protect themselves. 357 members voted to take part in a cover-up. 357 members voted against women and victims, and 357 members are willing to use your tax dollar to do it. Indeed. Indeed, there, Nancy Mace. And then again, here are the, she said, thank you to 65 members of Congress. And again, when they have votes like this, who's trying to cover their butt? They got it all sorted out. How am I going to vote on this? You know what I mean? Maybe. But anyway, there's 65 that did vote to expose it, to expose the sexual harassment records in Congress. Here they are. So at least trying to act like they were for exposing sexual harassment records of Congress. I don't trust any of them, not one of them. But at least they put on a good act. Nancy Mace went on to say, as your member of Congress tells you, they voted against my resolution releasing the sexual harassment files because they wanted to, quote, protect victims. The truth is, victims and witnesses were both protected in my resolution. Their names were redacted in the resolution. Don't let Congress lie to you. Don't do it. Hold the line. Yeah, well, they're lying. Here is, again, I thought we'd bring this up because it's shocking to me. I guess don't be shocked. Under Joe Biden, more than 450,000 unaccompanied children were lost, and many were sex trafficked, abused, and exploited by violent cartels, gangs, and smugglers, and by the Epstein crew. They left that part out. Department of Homeland Security, again, if all this happened under the Biden administration, as they claim, then go bust, again, the government, the nonprofits, the NGOs. There's a giant conspiracy going on with trafficking. And yet we get low level, and it's good to get them too, don't get me wrong, but we get low level illegal aliens that are abusing children at the street level when this conspiracy is industrial level. You understand? Many, many high-powered people, not Joe Blow, child molester, illegal alien on the street. They're part of it at street level, but this is industrial level trafficking. No one's in trouble except for low-level child molesters on the street. And it goes on. It goes on. They want you to stop talking about Epstein files. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. 2.5 million documents exposed, indexed, and searchable. These guys, Epstein file search. Play this clip and then we'll take a look at that.
Hey MAGA, he played you for a sucker. He knew you wanted to know the truth about the Epstein list.
We need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
So you voted for Donald Trump. How's that working out?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Elon demanded you release the Epstein files. Meanwhile, you sent ICE into Los Angeles. A perfect distraction. Trump thinks you're stupid. He can distract you. Trump's old friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, got 20 years for child sex trafficking.
I just wish her well, frankly.
20 years for child sex trafficking. But there's no record of who she trafficked the children to? Really? Donald Trump is president of the United States. If he wanted you to see the Epstein list, he'd release it. But he's not.
I don't know about Epstein so much. If you don't want to affect people's lives, if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
He played you for a sucker. MAGA, you gonna just shut up and fall in line like all the rest? Really?
The Lincoln, they're famous never Trumpers, right? Seems they're dirtbags too, though. So dirtbags fighting dirtbags. Here are here's the epsteinsearch.info. I'll post the link, or you can go to it and check it out yourself. I will post the link at Weaponized News Substack for those interested in doing more research. I haven't messed with it really, but seems like a pretty good database they built up here, searchable and whatnot. So we will be taking a look at this. Again, epsteinsearch.info, and you can find this and continue the research. Howard Lutnick's Trump's Commerce Secretary says Jeffrey Epstein was the greatest blackmailer ever. Huh? Here's that clip. Howard Lutnick was part of it, obviously.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Really? You're part of it. You're part of MK Ultra, dark occultic satanic rituals. Bragged about taking his family vacation to Epstein Island. And we're supposed to say, oh, I guess he's a good guy. No, he's an incredible criminal. Chelsea Clinton lives in an A-list New York City condo building that Jeffrey Epstein secretly funded. Her father flew on Epstein's plane 26 times. Bill Clinton. All depends on what your definition of flying is, right? According to New York Post. And so Chelsea Clinton lives in A-list New York City condo building that was secretly funded by Jeffrey Epstein. But the Clintons know nothing and knew of no wrongdoing. This one dropped today. And again, it was one of these intake reports. So that's your plausible deniability. The FBI interviews DOJ was hiding are now public. They describe Trump's first interaction with a girl approximately 13 to 15 years old. These are 3 files that were missing from the initial release. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But again, they're going to say it was just a crazy person. You can't prove anything because the FBI never followed up on the investigation of these allegations. And so again, here's the claim, right, that Trump raped this little girl right here. It would have been nice if the FBI would have followed up on these claims and actually done a proper investigation. But I think we've all come to understand that's not the FBI's job. The FBI's job is to cover up crimes of the Epsteins and to go ahead and stage false flag terrorist attacks in this country. And that's the FBI's job, not to bring about justice for the victims of rape. So it's all in there. It's extremely disturbing. If any of that's true, again, it's a claim on an FBI intake form. So for the proper context, but damning claims made there that you would think somebody, the big tough cops that say we care about your safety all day, you would think they would take a second look at this, and they're just like, who cares? You know what I mean? So that came out today. The FBI intake memo that appears to now be deleted. And so they're playing this game. They've been deleting them, putting them back up, and then saying, well, that was just a intake form. That don't mean nothing. Well, somebody, if they made this horrific claim that Donald Trump raped a little girl and it's a lie, then go get them, right? But nothing. Arrest Trump if it's true. Arrest the people if they're lying with these horrific claims. Nothing. They're just like, who cares, right? And that's where we're at. Ghislaine Maxwell on blackmail tapes said, well, here's the Ghislaine Maxwell told 60 Minutes producer Ira Rosen in 2016 that she didn't know where Epstein's tapes of Donald Trump were. Rosen, an Emmy-winning producer, revealed he tricked Maxwell into confirming the recordings existed in his new memoir, Ticking Clock, released. I don't even know when this post was from. Anyhow, I'm sure you could go find it with those details for those interested. Continuing, the encounter took place in early 2016, ahead of the U.S. presidential election. I want the tapes. I know he was videotaping everyone, and I want the tapes of Trump with the girls, Rosen said, acting on a hunch. Maxwell, 59, replied, I don't know where they are, confirming their existence. Rosen writes Maxwell refused to help him locate the tapes because she did not want Donald Trump to get elected. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other. If you get the tapes on Trump, you have to do Clinton, she told me. Yeah, it's all of them. It's all of them. David Copperfield just ended his 25-year MGM Las Vegas residency over Epstein Files archive has 57 documents linking Copperfield to Epstein, including the 2002 Africa trip on Epstein's plane. And so sadly, no more magic from con man David Copperfield because he's an Epsteiner. There's the official announcement, and then here he is all loved up with Maxwell. Oh yeah, it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games for these demons. Jeffrey Epstein's personal doctor is now serving a life sentence for sexually abusing minors. Yeah. The peoples in Epstein's orbit were not bystanders. No. They're part of it. You get the details here for you, some more details about it. This thing will load. Yeah, so more about this. A Newsday investigation revealed that urologist Darius Paduch treated Epstein for sexual dysfunction in 2018, shortly before Epstein's arrest. Paduch was later convicted in 2024 of inducing minors to engage in sexual acts and sentenced to life in prison. Paduch's abuses involved at least 11 victims, primarily young patients with fertility issues, with complaints against him date back to 2006, but remained undisclosed at the time of Epstein's visit. So there you go. At least somebody, some way, that was his own abuse going on, right? Not even part of Epstein abuse, or was it? Seems like it's all interconnected here. Hillary Clinton, under oath, recommended Congress subpoena the CIA, the Director of National Intelligence, and the Department of Justice counterintelligence over Epstein foreign ties. Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's plane 26 times. That came out of the House Oversight deposition last week. What was it? Last Thursday. Here now of Hillary Clinton. Epstein invested $40 million in Mr. Technocracy, Peter Thiel's Valar Ventures between 2015 and 2016. The investment is now worth $170 million. Thiel said he barely knew the man. Pretty believable, right? The DOJ called them duplicates. They weren't. 16 pages from FBI interview summary with a woman alleging sexual assault by President Trump were withheld for months, released the day after Congress voted to subpoena the Attorney General. That was yesterday. And that's being reported widely in the New York Times, AP, and so on. The DOJ reviewed 6 million Epstein related pages, released 2.7 million, removed 47,635 from public access, now admits some were mistakenly classified as duplicates. How many more mistakes are buried in the 3.3 million pages they haven't released? Epstein file search says. Indeed, they're playing a lot of games. Here's Mohammed Safa, Executive Director, Diplomatic Relations, Main Representative at United Nations for SOC, and accredited at United Nations office at Geneva. He says, I don't understand how we're not having a global revolution right now. There are 3 million files of documented evidence about powerful men who raped, cannibalized, trafficked, filmed, terrorized, tortured, murdered 13, 14, 15-year-old children and 0 arrests. Indeed. Indeed, but hey, they've raided more raw milk farmers than arrests of Epstein traffickers, i.e. a la Thomas Massey meme. Here's some protests going on here. Where was this? In New Jersey. This is the Visibility Bridge in New Jersey protesting the Epstein files cover up. Again, the Department of Justice is actively breaking the law and covering up the Epstein files. And Trump's taken us to an illegal foreign war of aggression in Iran and started a major regional war over the Epstein files and other motives as well. War crimes don't hide sex crimes. They kind of do, though, don't they? But we do need protesters, and bless their hearts, out there raising the public awareness about this. Bless their hearts over there in New Jersey on the Visibility Bridge. Okay, let's take our live commercial break. We're already well past the top of the hour. I had to keep going on that section of Epstein to cover all of the latest on that as it continues to develop. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers. We have the holograph sticker, the white background sticker there, and the clear sticker. Help support independent reporting and analysis, brought to you 5 days a week at Weaponized News, broadcasting live, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Go to weaponizednews.com/shop. Get yourself some stickers. We've got t-shirts, baseball caps, coffee mugs, a bunch of gear over there. Go take a look. We appreciate your patronage at the store. If you don't want to buy any items from us, go ahead and give us a donation. We appreciate that as well. Buy me a coffee, Cash App, links in the description below this video. Bitcoin wallet address in the description below this video. Any and all help, support is appreciated. Give us that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. If you can afford to monetarily support us, it's understandable in this economy. Give us that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. All the links to help us out are in the description below this video. Thank you to all the subscribers out there and patrons to the store. It's much appreciated. We need more help. We need help spreading the word here now. And how crazy is the censorship going to be going forward here now? It feels like we're in a sweet spot where they're getting ready to turn that dial of censorship up again. So help us get the word out about Weaponized News broadcast. Give us that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. Thank you very much for bearing with the commercial announcements. I gave you, what, an hour and 15 minutes commercial free there of jam-packed with information. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition, March 6th, 2026. Weaponized News. They're bombing the hell out of Iran right now. They say tonight, or it's literally right now, right, is going to be the biggest bombing campaign of Operation Epstein Fury yet. So it's going down right now. It's going down right now. And let's not forget this, and then we'll move on from Epstein reporting today. But let's not ever forget this. Interestingly enough, between 1999 and 2001, there's a gap here of 25,000 missing serial numbers on the documents, right? And so it's a big gap there before and after 9/11, as it does appear Epstein and his trafficking crew were major players in 9/11. To remind everybody of that. More corruption from the Trump administration. This from a report from Information Liberation. He says the Trump administration has created a pardon, quote, pardon industry where pardon seekers routinely offer to pay lobbyists as much as $1 million or more, often with bonus payments triggered by successful outcomes, according to a report out of the failing New York Times. One of the people successfully pardoned was nursing home tax scammer Rabbi Joseph Schwartz. Here he is pictured. Here is the rabbi, and we know he was wrongfully accused, so he got pardoned with $1 million lobbying contribution. Plus, one of the people successfully pardoned was nursing home tax scammer Rabbi Joseph Schwartz, seen pictured with lawyer and lobbyist Josh Nass, who was sentenced to 36 months in prison for his role in a $38 million tax fraud scheme. Laura Loomer helped lobby for Schwartz's release by claiming the rabbi's sentence was an example of obvious anti-Semitism, of course. How long are we going to let these characters hide behind that? I think it's wearing thin on everyone. Anyhow, continuing, less than 2 weeks after his guilty plea was accepted, with his surrender date approaching and Odysee looming, Mr. Schwartz hired the right-wing conspiracist Jack Berkman and Jacob Wohl to lobby for a presidential pardon, according to congressional filings. The failing New York Times reports Berkman and Wohl have privately indicated that they enlisted Miss Loomer to assist with Schwartz's clemency push, the Times reported, though Loomer denied having been paid and insists his case was brought to her attention in a group chat related to aardvark causes. Pay to play, bribery schemes, indeed, more corruption out of the Trump White House, surprising literally no one at this point that's paying attention to what the hell these criminals are doing. Again, the America's Counter Cartel Conference essentially announced the North American Union was the exact language, the Greater North America. Yeah, that was announced yesterday. The Greater North America, i.e. North American Union, i.e. the American Technate, updated for 2026. And that's where we're at. The Department of War announced it yesterday. Gronk is all in for all lawful use cases across all classified and unclassified networks. That's according to Michael, Undersecretary of the Department of War. Here you go. So, Department of War neck deep in AI.
Gronk's all in for all lawful use cases across all classified and unclassified networks, as you'd expect, because, and you know, Elon's truth seeking. We want truth in Department of War. We don't want ideology.
Oh yeah, they're truth seeking. Keep on lying there, and so there you go, Mr. Doge is actually a military industrial complex contractor. That is what X and all of Elon Musk's companies actually do. And he admitted as much that the whole Tesla car thing, he didn't give a damn about the environment. It's to create this giant spy grid. Been admitted by Musk himself. We reported on it. And everybody's just like, well, you hate the environment. No, he just said it wasn't. These electric cars are not about the environment. They're about building this giant surveillance grid, stealing everybody's data. But you don't, so you're for climate change? You people miss the whole point of all of this. Okay, continuing. Rebuild the arsenal of freedom, propaganda memes coming out of the Department of War. Yeah, we just saw 4-fold increase in munitions production coming out of Raytheon, and you could expect subsequent profiteering from the dead to increase significantly as we go forward in the Iran war. I think this one was from yesterday, but dystopic memes coming out of the Department of War. AI first war fighting. Yeah, pretty dystopic there. DIU, Defense Innovation Unit. This is part of the Department of War, is proud to lend its expertise to the Gauntlet Phase 1 of the Department of War Drone Dominance Program. The first stage of this critical effort will award approximately $150 million in prototype delivery orders to winners. By 2027, the Department of War will be fielding hundreds of thousands of weaponized one-way attack drones ready for combat. Yeah, hundreds of thousands. What do they say again? Hundreds of thousands of weaponized one-way attack drones ready for combat. Here it is. And they have a cute little video of the weaponized attack drones there going and killing people. Department of War today announced the appointment of Mr. Gavin Kilger as Chief Data Officer, a role that places him at the center of the Department of War's most ambitious AI efforts. This guy is going to be part of making Skynet live, if it's not already. There you go. Working with Sam Altman. We should remember who these people are. And Khomeini's X account is tweeting from the grave with this threat. They're saying this is a threat of nuclear strike on America. Somebody in Iran's tweeting from his account. He's allegedly dead. Maybe he's still alive with Epstein hanging out somewhere. I don't know. Seems pretty critical of Epstein. This was posted today, earlier today. The Zionist regime has made a big mistake, and its consequences will make the regime desperate by God's grace. And they're saying this is a threat of nuking Tel Aviv, essentially, posted by the dead Khomeini's account there. Michael Hoffman said in this post on X earlier today, evidence assembled by the New York Times, including newly released satellite imagery and verified videos, indicates the Iranian school was severely damaged on February 28th by a precision U.S. strike. More than 100 little girls were sacrificed to Satan at the start of Trump's Zionist war. Looks like a blood ritual for sure going on here. Here is Code Pink. Code Pink. Mia Benjamin calling out Congress right here. Take a look. Just a few days ago.
Why are we at war with Iran? I mean, confusing.
You are?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there are several good reasons for us to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities. First of all, because they're willing to use it.
There was an Iran nuclear deal signed in 2015.
Yeah, thank God we got out of that. Yeah. And remember, he agreed to a deal that allowed Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
No, they didn't.
Thank God we intervened in that. And they were on their way to doing it.
No, they weren't. And,
yeah, they were. You know, they were licensed to have to enrich to a level that would allow a nuclear weapon.
No, they weren't.
Insane.
You know, the U.S. Republicans kept saying they almost have a nuclear weapon. They almost have a nuclear weapon. It's not true. They don't have a nuclear weapon. And I have one question.
Thank goodness they don't. And
does Israel have nuclear weapons?
Listen, the United States and Israel are ironclad partners. We need them in the Middle East. We need them to be strong. We have a biblical responsibility to them as well as an allied responsibility to Israel. We should never sever that relationship, particularly to the benefit of killers like Iran.
Well, is that your office? Is that?
So there they go. They have aardvark flags outside their office there, a bunch of them anyway. It's our biblical duty if you didn't know. And so who knows if this guy's a true believer, just a bullshitter, something in between, all of the above. Who knows? That's what he's saying, though. That's what he's saying. We have a biblical responsibility to aardvark land. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. To a country that the UK and Rothschilds created in 1948, we have a biblical responsibility to this fraud? No, we don't. No, we don't. It's more fraud. Here's the puppet front man. Trump says this guy's not going to make it. He's not popular. The exiled crown prince, Reza Pahlavi, I believe, however you pronounce his stupid name. This guy's trying to raise his hand. Well, he's been for a while now, last couple of months, right? Campaigning very publicly that he wants to be the new Western puppet of Iran. This character right here, right? This guy with his good friend Bibi. And turns out, yep, there you go. I'm sure that's what Iran wants, is him as their leader, right? Just looking at the chat, here are some comments. Let's see. Bardo on the Rumble said that Musk rockets use methane rocket fuel because it's cheap. Methane is a terrible greenhouse gas. Yeah. But we're going to the moon or Mars or something. No, probably not. But it's fun to, launder a bunch of money that way. That is good for them. Let's see. What do they say here? Okay, couple comments quickly. Listen, Toots Biblical. Claire Daly is asking for signatures for the book of condolences to children lost in, yeah, we just whacked them, Max says. Those girls at the Iranian school, right? Iran's still winning. I don't know. Nobody wins, right? Nobody's winning in these wars except for the military-industrial complex. And the oil oligarchs, I don't see anybody else really winning a whole lot. Mars is the god of war. Oh, that's a good point there. Lies on the Rumble pointed out. Here's Aardvark land just deliberately bombed UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. Here's that short clip. But they were Hezbollah, right? And so perfectly reasonable to bomb UN peacekeepers.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh.
Yeah. That's from the UN, dude. Mohammed Safa, who said we should have a global revolution over the Epstein. Abdu Ali al-Askari, I think I said his name right. That was an easy one, easier than most of them with 15 names. Anyhow, spokesman for security chief of Iraq's Kitabid Hezbollah, one of their spin-offs of their proxy armies, here now, this guy said, the Americans must realize the gravity of the crime of assassinating Imam Khomeini. The blood of the martyred leader has opened the door to punishing them and dismantling their security. This is a mission the Iraqi resistance places at the top of its priorities until they are expelled from the country. We stand with our brothers in Hezbollah, asking God to grant them steadfastness and victory through their legendary resilience in the face of Zionist American aggression. They have enabled the highest meaning of loyalty and courage. You got religious fanatical maniacs on all sides, and it's getting pretty damn scary, honestly. They're in it to the death, man. Looks like our side too. Well, here you go. Again, I know everybody wants to say this is a sex offender list. It's not. These are missiles launched from Iran, aardvark land warning sirens. And so, again, this is not the sex offender locations that are in aardvark land. These are warnings about potential missile strikes by Iran, even though the maps overlap in many cases, right? They do. Sad to say. Trump shifts goalposts once again as U.S. denies regime change agenda. Trump told Axios that his demand for Iran's, quote, unconditional surrender does not necessarily mean a formal capitulation, but rather the destruction of Iran's ability to continue fighting, suggesting the collapse of the country's military capabilities could suffice. The remarks came after Trump publicly ruled out negotiations and demanded Tehran's, quote, unconditional surrender, even suggesting the United States could help select new leadership in Iran after the current government falls. He said that yesterday, that he'll pick Iran's new leader. However, U.S. Secretary of State Little Marco Rubio reportedly told Arab foreign ministers that Washington's objective is not regime change, while simultaneously indicating the United States wants different leadership in Iran. So more Orwellian doublespeak coming out of the Trump administration. We wouldn't expect anything less. I saw a Trump report also today. NBC was saying they have reports that Trump is thinking about ground troops, boots on the ground. We'll see. Who knows? There is a lot of fog of war, disinformation, misinformation floating around out there. We're trying to sort through all of it and bring you the most factual details that we can here now at Weaponized News. From the cradle now, they say, this is a report from the cradle. The spokesperson for Iran's armed forces general staff said today that Iran has not targeted regional countries or their sovereignty, stressing that its operations are directed at the U.S. and aardvark land. He claimed Iranian strikes have targeted 14 U.S. bases, causing heavy damage to several facilities, while casualties are reportedly being evacuated by U.S. air ambulances, particularly in Bahrain. The spokesperson added that Iran will continue targeting U.S. and aardvark land forces without restriction, and warned that more advanced weapons will soon be used, with further details about an incident at a U.S. base in Bahrain expected to be released tomorrow. They're painting a picture here, America propaganda. Iran, they're just shooting everybody. Well, they just told you. They're not just shooting everybody. They're targeting specifically U.S. and aardvark bases there. And again, we would have none of these problems if Iran didn't build its country around all our military bases in West Asia and our Navy right there off their coast, right? We wouldn't have any of these problems. Damn Iran. Damn you, Iran, in your country. Officials of 2 Gulf countries slam U.S. for putting aardvark land above Arab allies. According to a report out of the Associated Press, they say Washington prioritized defending aardvark land and U.S. troops while leaving Arab allies to protect themselves without proper warning of the attack on Iran. There you go. Here's what it looks like. See these little circles with the U.S. flags? These are all our admitted bases. I believe we have secret bases as well there, right? But here's our admitted public bases all over right here. And see, Iran built their country here, but we had all of our bases, you see. We got a bunch of our navies all up in here, all up in here, all of our bases, all right here, you see. And so we got problems. We got problems. And again, they're bombing the hell out of the place right now as we speak. Iranian attacks on UAE left 3 dead and 112 injured. A lot of dead bodies stacking up. Lebanese Health Ministry reports 9 killed and 17 wounded in eastern Lebanon. They're bombing the hell out of Lebanon as well. The Lebanese Ministry of Health reports that since March 2nd, 217 Lebanese have been killed and 798 injured in U.S. aardvark land-backed attacks on the country. According to Iranian Red Crescent Society, at least 1,332, I rounded up 133. I'm sure it'll be more than that. That's why I said more than. At least, according to the Iranian Red Crescent Society, at least 1,332 people, Iranians, have been killed in Iran since the start of the U.S. aardvark land aggression on February 28th. Here's what they're bombing Beirut. Aardvark land is bombing Beirut, a highly densely populated area. Here's a clip bombing Beirut.
في صف بنايات وهي عم لك يعني في صف بنايات نزل 2 أو 3.
Here's on the ground short little clip from Beirut. They're leveling the place as per usual. So there you go. They're leveling the whole place because we have a greater aardvark land project to build. You see. Continuing here, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society reports that 12 Palestinians were injured in violent attacks during a raid carried out by Aardvark land occupation forces at a checkpoint near the city of Tubas in the occupied West Bank. Aardvark land military now reporting injuries. The Aardvark land military said 5 soldiers from the Give Addy Brigade were seriously wounded by indirect fire while inside Aardvark land territory near the Lebanese border. 3 additional soldiers were lightly wounded in the incident. U.S. officials say Russia is giving Iran intelligence on the locations of American warships and aircraft in the Middle East, helping Tehran target U.S. forces. The information reportedly includes positions of ships, aircraft, and radar systems. As is reported, we got one of our big radars blowing up. I forget even where, Bahrain? I forget even where. It's hard to keep track. Okay, continuing with this report, officials say the support suggests Russia is indirectly involved in the conflict, although Moscow has not commented and is not directly fighting. China does not appear to be providing satellite assistance at this point, or intelligence assistance, according to a report out of the Washington Compost. So take that for what it is, report out of the Washington Compost. Representative Joe Wilson says war criminal Putin is killing Americans by providing Iran intel. Maybe they are. So there you go. We're in a 2-front proxy war with Russia now, edging closer to a direct war with Russia. Not good. Hezbollah cross-border rocket attack injures son of Aardvark land finance minister Smotrich. And so here's that clip. If it will load. Here's that clip. At least he's acting like he's fighting, right? Old Netanyahu's son's like what, on vacation in Miami? At least Smotrich's son's acting like he's fighting there. Ukrainian troops are expected to deploy to the Gulf soon to help defend against Iranian drone attacks, a senior Ukrainian official told AFP earlier today. Qatar energy chief says world disruptions will soon trigger global economic collapse. I don't know about that, but he's ringing the alarm there. Qatar energy minister Saad Ali Kabi said the ongoing U.S. Aardvark land war on Iran and the logistical disruptions of Gulf energy exports will have devastating consequences for the global economy, according to an interview out of the Financial Times. And so here are some of the protests. Here's scenes from Buggam, Kashmir earlier today, showing thousands of protesters rallying in support of Iran to mourn Supreme Leader Khamenei's martyrdom. Here's some images from that protest, burning effigies of Trump and Netanyahu. You can see there, and I do believe. There you go. Iran strike destroys THAAD radar system in Jordan. That's what I couldn't remember which one of our bases got hit, but this report, THAAD radar site in Jordan destroyed. At the base in Jordan, THAAD destroyed at Al Salt Imperial Base in Jordan. It's like $1 billion plus THAAD radar system has been destroyed. Now it's being reported widely. Iraq's National Security Service says it arrested 5 alleged Aardvarkland spies carrying Polish passports after uncovering a suspected espionage cell in the country. Here's their passports. So keep in mind, they're doing upfront bombing campaigns that everybody can see. They're also doing many covert operations, and there's reports that they blew up their Iran's underground bases. I don't freaking know. Who knows? You know what I mean? I know they're running a lot of these on-the-ground covert operations as well as just was here all over. They're openly talking. Well, they're telling the Kurds to go ahead and invade Iran. They're talking about arming every freaking terrorist group here under the sun that's against Iran in the Middle East at this point, pretty much. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. Those reports, I don't know, maybe they did blow up all of Iran's underground bunkers, storing all their missiles. I don't know. Those reports are out there. Continuing here, Saudi Arabia has intensified back-channel talks with Iran, and that's the whole deal, right? Those are the two big dogs there. Forget about Aardvarkland. The two big Muslim big dogs, Saudi Arabia and Iran. And that's like, because they're Sunni and Shia, and that's the whole big divide. Maybe we'll do a show yesterday going over that. Why, if these Muslims could ever get together, then Aardvarkland be out of luck. We'd be out of luck. America would be our interest. We would have no interest because they'd say all us Muslims are sick and tired of all of your imperialism and you guys got to go. You know what I mean? But that's the whole divide and conquer organization from Big Brother UK. That's allowed the quote West to control that region, i.e. Rothschild banking interests. Right? Yeah. But if somehow, some way, these different factions of Islam could ever get over their differences and come together, then it'd be a different story. Okay, continuing here though. Saudi Arabia has intensified direct back-channel talks with Iran to try to de-escalate the growing Middle East conflict and prevent it from turning into a wider war. European and regional officials say several countries are supporting these diplomatic efforts amid rising tensions and market instability. That's a report out of Bloomberg. They're like, you guys are blowing up all of our stuff here, all of our oil, the potential to export it. Our refineries are getting blown up. We don't want this to turn into a never-ending regional war. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bagher Ghalibaf said Americans will come to understand that the fate of dear Iran, which is more precious than life, will be determined solely by the proud Iranian nation, not by Epstein's gang. Kind of hard to argue with them at this point. kind of hard to argue with them. Little Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, told Arab foreign ministers the war could last several more weeks. He said the current focus is on destroying Iran's missile launchers, stockpiles, and factories. Rubio also said the U.S. is not officially seeking regime change, but made clear Washington wants different leadership in Iran. That's a report out of Axios. So again, the Orwellian doublespeak coming out of the Trump administration. We were always at war with East Asia. We were never at war with East Asia. We've been at war with Iran for 47 years. There is no war going on. We want regime change. We don't want regime change. We want to pick who the leader is. We don't want to pick who the leader is. And on it goes. Last report of the day here now. Zionist lawfare activist Keith L. Marcus of the Louis D. Brandeis Center says explicitly at a congressional briefing that he's working for the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism to become the law of the land in the United States. He brags that we've now got 2/3 of the states to pass the state IHRA bills. That's like your Noah Hyde, right? And notes that many more are working on it. I didn't think that was going to happen. We are going to win. We are going to win the war, Marcus boasts. The International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition is an ever-expanding definition of anti-Semitism. Pretty soon they'll say, if you're a plumber, you're bad. No, seriously though, continuing here, aimed at outlawing criticism of aardvarks and aardvark land as a form of illegal discrimination. It's a direct attack on the First Amendment rights of all Americans, aimed at outlawing criticism of one privileged group and their favored foreign ethno-state. This event was held in partnership with the ADL and the whole crew of there is no aardvark conspiracy, you see, but they do have all of these highly organized groups that have meetings like every friggin' day talking about a plan, how they're going to take over and pass all these laws to go after their imagined enemies. But there is no greater aardvark conspiracy, you see, and they're not racist and hold supremacist ideas, as we saw with all the Epstein emails, literally laughing at the goyim go to work every day, and they'll sit back and profiteer off of finance and engineered world events. Let's play this clip from this character that's trying to outlaw our First Amendment.
We've lost before. The Brandeis Center drafted, I think, the first state IRA bill. It was in Virginia a number of years ago. It was unsuccessful. We worked on the second one. It was in Tennessee. It was unsuccessful. Then we're in South Carolina. That was the first success, and we thank Christians United for Israel, American Jewish Committee, and some other groups for helping us make that successful. We've now got 2/3 of the states have passed the state IRA bills, and many more are working on it. Just within the last month, the Rhode Island House introduced it, Missouri House passed it, Wisconsin House passed it, the Ohio Senate was voting and I think passed it yesterday. Arizona House has passed it. So we've already got 2/3 of the states. I didn't think that was going to happen. And Virginia, where it hadn't passed, has now passed it. Tennessee, where it hadn't passed, has now passed it. So we are going to win. It's not going to be instantaneous. We're not going to win every battle, but we are going to win the war. And the most important part right now of this battle is the federal. So we are absolutely delighted that all of you are here focusing on this, including especially those of you who have perhaps a voice and an ability to help us make sure that IRA becomes the law of the land.
Wow. Wow. What are they saying in the comments? Well, let me go to Odysee first. Thank you guys for tuning in on this Friday. That's all the reporting I have for you tonight. Let's go. We got Huffman, John, Gurr. Thank you guys for tuning in, chatting it up on the Odysee. I think them FEMA camps will be work camps like the other infamous camps, not immigration camps. Indeed, Huffman. It's definitely looking like that. Before I was saying, okay, they are building these camps for illegals and they're going to do this mass deportation. But what about the camps after that operation's done? Assuming that was taking the Trump administration as at their word, right? But yeah, now it's looking exactly like all that's cover for FEMA camps for dissidents. It's insane. It really is insane. I wish we could trust the government, honestly. But as we continue to illustrate here, there's a bunch of religious fanatical maniacs running around. Maybe they're true believers. I don't know what's in the man's heart, but they act like they're true believers. They want to bring about all of their end of the world prophecies. It's quite literally insane and scary that these people are in high positions of power. You see them talking right there. They're going to pass laws. If you're talking bad about the war, well, you just broke the law, bud. You know what I mean? It's like, what? It's getting crazier and crazier and crazier here now. Maybe somehow, some way. We're going to pray for peace. We're going to pray for peace. That's all we can really do here now, right? Pray that the order followers would, stop following the orders, to pull the triggers. It's a big ask. I know. We're all MK Ultra here to differing degrees. Okay. What do we got? I think they're talking about, different planes. Yeah, probably had more. He had more than one plane for sure. Epstein. Come on, Trump is another Epsteiner. Yeah. Wayne Madsen posted a report of Trump making out of court settlements to the families of 6 children. Trump was accused of raping 3 of them children. 3 of the children were boys. Well, they're talking about David on Odysee says, in addition to being a 33rd degree Freemason, Albert Pike was the first Grand Master Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, which is Swiss German meaning cowbell clan. Pike's guru was the Swiss Felice Walder. Okay. Because what was it, yesterday or Wednesday's show, we brought up the Albert Pike letter, right? About the prophecy for World War III. So yeah, feels like it's all tying together, part of the conspiracy, or let's just call it what it is, an agenda. Let's see here. Yeah, they got their councils all over the place, like 20 of them, all kind of different councils, groups. This is a giant list. Information Liberation reports on it constantly, and it's just meeting after meeting of these people saying this, how they're oppressed and we're the oppressor somehow, and they're going to take away our rights, and then that's going to make everybody happy. And it's like, wow. You know what I mean? It's over the top insane, actually. And they're saying if you even criticize them, you're bad. It's like, wait a minute, I got my rights. I have my natural rights over here. And whatever you guys are doing over there, that's your business. But now you're infringing on my natural rights. Now we got a problem. You see? And so they're bringing the fight to us. They're talking about the wars against them. They're bringing the fight to us. Those that just want to be left alone at this point by violating our natural rights. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. It just really is concerning and upsetting, to say the very least. Okay, let me go over to the Rumble and YouTube. Shout out to YouTube. We've been doing pretty good with the viewership on YouTube, so shout out to YouTube. Thank you for letting us have some action out there. YouTube. Who knows how long that'll last, you know what I mean? But thanks, YouTube. Okay, we had Mac over there, a couple, Xan. Let's see here. They popped in to insult me for some reason, said I'm a waste of time. I think we covered a lot of information on the show today. Let's see. Yeah, as Bob was talking about, he says, I think Aardvark Land took out their most of their underground nuke facility. Yeah, I don't know. That's being reported out there. I don't know. I saw a couple of those reports. I haven't seen anything 100%. Hell, Trump told us he blew up their nuclear program in June. Yeah, here we are. You know what I mean? So they could say they blew it up and then even show the documentation and say, well, we found another tunnel over there. You know what I mean? And it just goes on and on and on, it seems, here now. Yeah, Lai said on the Rumble, Mars is the god of war. Let's see here. Have a good one, Bob. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. George Galloway reported today that Aardvark Land has banned its own citizens from posting any video of local damage resulting from Iranian missile strikes, drones. 3 years in prison for doing so. Wow. Yeah, it's hard. They'll expect that censorship here if they actually do declare a war or an emergency over this in America. Yeah, expect that here too. You won't see weaponized news anymore. You won't see anything except for messages from the government. Let's see. Lebanon is anti-fascist, Max said. Are they? I don't know. I think they want to be sectarian, don't they? Kind of. Seems like their government does. But you got all the radicals pulling them into war. Is Hegseth? I don't know. Funny, Barto, funny. Says this Hegseth using THC hair gel. They're using propaganda hair gel, smoking their own propaganda. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in on Odysee. Again, X, Bitchute, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube, of course. And, of course, Rumble. Thank you guys for tuning in, chatting it up, keeping it lively on this Friday. Let's pray for peace. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Friday evening, and we'll see you back here on Monday for more